You're tuned in to another episode of S&M Radio. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Mark.
And we promised you at the end of the last episode that we'd even be talking about another newer horror movie. And we are talking about a movie that's from 2016 even. And that is the movie Hush.
Wow, that's crazy. I can't believe that is 2016. Well, actually, no, you know what? That's even newer than Star Wars. Wow.
Right, yeah.
This is a record for us, isn't it?
Probably pretty close, yeah, because this movie is...
Oh, wait, The Boy. Was that 2016?
Oh, no. The Boy might be the quickest that we did. The Boy and the Witch.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so we did get a few this year already in. Okay.
But this movie didn't have a wide release, I don't think. It was like its world premiere was at South by Southwest in March of this year, and then it was actually officially released just on April 8th on Netflix.
And that is exactly where I watched it.
That's where I watched it too. And this is one of the movies which happens quite a bit with movies that don't really get a wide release or that kind of sneak up on people, I guess. And that is, on Facebook and Instagram and some other places, you start hearing some chatter about it. A movie that we haven't talked about yet on this show that we are going to get to at some point is a movie from last year called It Follows. Where there's a bunch of people that are, like, oh, you gotta see this movie, blah, 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 blah. And I was seeing a bunch of stuff on Instagram and a bunch of stuff on Facebook from various people that were like, oh, you gotta watch Hush. You gotta watch Hush. You gotta watch Hush. And probably, I guess about a week ago, or maybe a little bit more, I had some time to myself and was like, oh, see what's on Netflix, and turned on Netflix, and it was like the recommended for you movie that popped up, and I was like, oh, I think that's the movie I've been hearing some stuff about. And one of my daughters was with me, and I was like, oh, you want to watch this movie? And she was like, sure. And we turned it on. And me and Mark have not talked at all before this episode about the movie, other than I watched it, and then I was like, hey, you need to watch this movie for the next episode. And that's all that we've talked about.
That's it. Yeah, we haven't said a thing about this.
So I am really curious as how this episode is going to turn out. My feelings on the movie are at one level, and I have no idea what Mark's feelings are on the movie. I haven't asked him yet. I wanted it to be a surprise. But I will go ahead and say right away that I watched this movie, and like I said, I watched this with my daughter. As with anything nowadays, you can't have anything and have a teenager, or not even a teenager anymore, really. You can't have anything and have like somebody probably up into their 50s have to sit and wait for stuff to happen. Otherwise, they're going to lose interest right away. And my daughter had her phone, and we were probably a good 2/3 into the movie. This isn't really giving anything away. You figure this out pretty quick in the movie. But my daughter's goes, she's deaf. And you figure that out like within like the first minute of the movie.
Yeah.
And then that was pretty much all of the movie that she really paid attention to, was something happened and she was like, oh, she's deaf. I didn't know. But this movie to me was one of these movies that, and again, there's a lot of modern day movies that I personally don't think are good, that a lot of people are like, oh my God, you got to see this movie. And this was one of those movies. Sorry, Hush fans. I did not like this movie.
So you didn't like this movie then?
Not really, no. And there's a couple of things I didn't like about it. The first thing I didn't like about it was, to me, it was overly predictable. The thing that really turned me off of this movie was the fact that I guess killer would be the right phrase for the guy that's in the movie. This character is like almost portrayed as somewhat indestructible in a way, but then you have the main character, Maddie, who's, the deaf girl. She would have something happen to her, and not that it would completely destroy her or anything, but she couldn't do anything fast enough, and she couldn't do this and she couldn't do that. And one of the scenes in the movie, again, this isn't really giving too much away, she ends up getting her hands caught in the sliding door and can't get them out in time. But yet then you have this killer who gets shot with an arrow and just it doesn't even affect him. He's oh, and rips the arrow out and just keeps going and doing whatever he's doing. But the other thing I didn't really like about this movie that I have liked in other movies was, and if they would have done it a little bit different, it would have been better. But they didn't play, at least in my personal opinion, they didn't play off of the fact of her being deaf very well. I think they could have done a little bit better with that. One of the, again, we were talking about modern horror last episode. One of the movies from the 2000s that I thought was a really good movie was this movie called Dead Silence about the puppets. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Oh, yeah.
But that movie did the opposite of what a lot of movies, since movies came out, have done, was instead of using the soundtrack for effect and, the background noise and whatever for effect, that movie, when it was getting to a scary part, got quiet. I don't know why, but that movie scared the crap out of me.
You don't like dummies, do you?
It wasn't so much the dummies in that movie, but I just remember that movie, and it was, it's the same thing with any movie, when you hear the music kick in, something's coming. And in that movie, it was the complete opposite. It would get quiet, and then you would know something. But there was no indicator what was coming because, it was freaking quiet. And then, whatever would jump out or whatever. But this movie, I didn't think really played off of that in the right way. So, that's just my personal opinion. This was just, one of these things where I didn't really think it was... overall, I didn't really think it was done very well.
Yeah, to me, this movie was, I wouldn't say I hated it or it's sort of, to me, it was kind of generic. I had I hadn't heard any chatter about this movie or anything like that. Didn't know anything about it. I think when you brought it up, I think I had just recently seen it pop up on Netflix or whatever. I didn't even know that it was a horror movie, to be honest with you. And it just seemed to me like it was very, like you said, predictable. It wasn't a badly done movie. It seemed like it was directed well. It was acted well. I thought the main woman, the main actress, I thought she did a great job. But it was just kind of a very predictable kind of home invasion film. The one thing that bothered me the most about it, like you said, the villain, being indestructible, to me was the fact that the entire house was nothing but windows, it seemed like, and glass. And it seemed like, I don't know, is it that difficult to break glass? If you were going to every window he would come to, he would, and again, she gets her electricity's off, her phone's dead, so she has no contact with the outside world, and she's in this log cabin that's kind of in the middle of nowhere or whatever. It would seem like all he would have to do was just grab a thick branch or something and just pound away on a window and he'd be in. And it seemed like for whatever reason that wasn't happening, and I didn't understand that. Unless the glass in this house was very, very durable.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I had the same feeling too at one point. Why isn't he just breaking in? Because like you said, it was glass everywhere. Not only the windows, but there was a big old sliding door in the one room, and then in the kitchen was a glass door. Not just a home invasion component to it, but it also kind of reminded me of I Spit on Your Grave kind of feel to it. It wasn't really a revenge movie, but it was kind of trying to give that vibe to where you had this woman who wasn't helpless, but she, like you had said, she was trapped in this house, no power, no phone, no internet or anything, kind of helpless, but then she ends up sort of fending for herself. I shouldn't say sort of, I mean, she ends up being successful at the end of the movie, but yeah, it was just very, like you had said, generic and predictable, and really kind of playing off some of the things that are popular. I mean, that's, like you had said, it was one of these movies that was made for a certain demographic.
Yeah. Nothing special here, really. Mm-mm. The one thing I didn't get either is why give him a mask if he's just not, I mean, he doesn't even wear it long enough for it to be even scary. He takes it off and he's just like a regular looking guy. I mean, it's just at the beginning he's wearing a mask and kind of, creeping around.
There was that scene there at the beginning when she finally realizes that he's there, and she says something about, "Oh, I haven't seen your face yet." And then he's like, "Oh, okay," and takes the mask off.
Right, exactly. So why was he wearing it?
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
And the other thing, too, that happened at the beginning of the movie was, he was killing the neighbor lady, like, on the porch. There was really no reason to that. Unless I missed it, I have no idea why he was doing that.
I didn't quite understand. Like, I mean, we don't really ever find out his motive, right? Unless I didn't miss that, did I? I mean, there was no real motive for it. He was just kind of like just coming in to get her, basically. And that's fine. You can keep it ambiguous like that, and it can be creepy. But like, it just, to me, it just didn't. It's just like, okay, it's just a home invasion movie. Nothing really. I mean, again, it was well acted, well directed, and it was actually a lot gorier than I was expecting too. I will say that one of the scene with the boyfriend coming over, I thought that was pretty well done. You don't know what's going to happen. He's kind of starting to figure out that this guy, because he's pretending to be like a police officer or deputy or whatever, and he's like investigating the crime scene or whatever, like that something happened. They called the police, and I thought that scene was well done. And then when she knocks and you find out what attacks and all that, I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, it was kind of just like just sort of a one-time watch. Nothing terribly special about this movie.
Yeah, I didn't even, that scene you were just talking about when the neighbor guy comes over, which is the husband of the girl who was killed at the beginning of the movie, comes over and, is like knocking on the door and was like, "Hey, is my wife in there?" And trying to call her name, and the killer like comes running around up onto the porch and has not a flashlight, but had something in his hand that looked like a strobe or something, and was like flashing in his face. And he's like, "Oh, blah, blah, I'm an officer, I'm here," and da da da, and this and that. And then he lowers it down, and then the guy sees that guy like in a sweatshirt and jeans, and why he didn't, like, to me, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's not paranoid, but why wouldn't you go like, "Oh, you're just a dude in street clothes, where, can I see your badge or anything?" I mean,
yeah.
And then, and again, at this point, the killer didn't have a weapon, and neither did the husband character. Eventually then husband character figures out that, oh, this guy's not who he says he is, and he's going to attack him. The killer kills the husband character. Yeah,
it was that part was well done, I thought. I'm trying to think of another part another part I thought was pretty creepy was when he takes the body of the girl he killed at the beginning of the film, the neighbor, and kind of like takes her hand and like is knocking on the window. I thought that was kind of creepy. Yeah, it was kind of more of a psychological thriller thing. I think the horror aspect is all the gore. It's a pretty gory film. A lot of blood, a lot of stuff going on in that area. So I think that's how it got the horror label.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was just meant for a certain demographic, and like I said, I know there's people out there that like it. So,
did you ever see the movie The Strangers?
With Liv Tyler.
I think it is her.
Like the pillowcases and stuff for masks and stuff.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
It kind of reminded me of that film in a way. they weren't like chasing people around in that movie. It just kind of gave me that vibe. Oh, and another part I didn't like was that little cheat that they tossed in there where she runs out trying to run away and he catches her and throws her on the ground and beats her with a cement block. And then you find out, oh, she's just thinking that. I didn't like that. I thought that was
yeah.
That was kind of, at first I thought, oh, wow, they got rid of the main character. And then you find out, it was just a dream or a thought or whatever. I thought that was kind of hokey. I hate to give it a thumbs down, but I guess I don't think I would recommend it. I think it's just simply too generic to recommend. It's not a bad movie. It's not like a movie where you're watching and it's like, wow, the acting is terrible, the directing's terrible and all that. But it's just not enough there to like recommend, somebody go out and sit down and watch this.
I wouldn't not say it's not a bad movie because I thought it was horrible.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, this episode is the first episode of May. Anybody out there is paying attention to the calendar, you know what next Friday is. And it's not like a sale at Kohl's or anything. It's Friday the 13th, so of course we're going to be talking about a Friday the 13th movie next week.
Wait, are you serious? I thought I was going to get some pants at Kohl's.
You probably can. I think they have the Kohl's Cash deal going on right now, so...
Oh, sweet.
If you buy like 2 pairs, you get like $10 in Kohl's Cash.
Nice. Now, do they sell hockey masks there?
No.
Bummer.
They do not. Although, I will say, if you go onto Kohl's.com, and I don't know why we're doing a Kohl's bit here, but...
yeah, they're not giving us any money.
You can buy a lot of shit online that they don't have in the stores. I just bought a tent from Kohl's a couple of weeks ago that is going to be like my festival tent, and then...
Well, that's kind of like Friday the 13th.
A little bit. And yeah, it would ended up being like a better deal than I could find like a similar tent anywhere. It's a little like 3-man tent.
Nice.
But yeah, they have. So I bet if you went online, you'd probably find a hockey mask. But yeah, a hockey mask for Jason Voorhees, which is the main character in my favorite Friday the 13th movie, Jason Goes to Hell. No.
Oh, I hate that movie.
I'm kidding. Friday the 13th Part 6.
Yes. We're finally covering this one. It's a good one. I think you all enjoy it. It's an older film, too, so...
it has one of my favorite lines of all time in it.
Let me guess. Is it... I don't know. What is it?
It's when Tommy and what's-her-face... the sheriff's daughter are driving, and he's like has his head down in her lap, and she's got like the Corvette or whatever it is, Camaro, and she takes the corner too sharp, and his head like smacks into her crotch, and she's like, "Watch out! This is a hairy turn."
That's right. I think they kept that in the edited for television version too, which was pretty funny. Because that was the copy I had. For the longest time.
Yeah, that's probably the copy I saw a billion times before I ever saw it unedited. But we'll save all the Friday talk for the next episode.
Excellent. Well, you all know where we're going, so be ready.